Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video I'm going to be sculpting a little Korok. I say Korok, I don't know which way is right, we're just gonna go with Korok. A little Korok from Legend of Zelda. I don't play Legend of Zelda, my boyfriend plays Legend of Zelda, but I just love the little Korok dudes, they're so cute, and I really wanted to make one, so this is me making one. There's a little buddy right there. Look at him. Isn't he cute? I love him. So I don't have armature wire. Instead, I was using floral wire or something. It was from the dollar store. It was not the right kind of wire, and I felt it not being the right kind of wire while I was using it. It was an experience. And then afterward, I used some foil, and I put foil around it. I do all of this so I don't use as much clay. Also, the clay I'm using is air dry clay, which after making this and promptly breaking it, I have fixed it. I see why people use polymer clay, but right now I don't have an oven. It's broke. So, and I can't afford polymer clay, to be honest. That stuff's expensive. So we're using air dry clay, and I'm trying to use the little like bits of wire to make like the legs and the arms. I end up using toothpicks later because it wasn't working. But it was an experience. Yeah, there's the toothpicks. I tried my best with what I had to work with. I'd never done something like this before. I've only ever made flat things with clay, except for like when I was really little, like with like modeling clay. I would make like little like monsters with modeling clay, but yeah, I've never done something this ambitious before. I would say I struggled because I didn't do everything properly. I'm pretty sure the foil kept falling off. The little bits kept falling off. Oh, there's his little shape. I kind of wish it turned out more like that and less square, but you know, we live and we learn. And here's my old clay, and it was moldy, so I had to throw it away. I probably could have picked clay out of it. I didn't feel like doing all of that. I didn't know. It was like moldy. See, I was starting to get ready to pick it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with this. And then this was the moment I had to lock my cat out because the cat split to jump on the thing, the desk. They were gonna tear it up. That was going to be a no from me. So I had to open my new thing of clay, which I didn't want to open. And yes, I used all of that clay for this little guy, pretty much. Had a little ball left of it, and I just threw it back in the bag so it wouldn't dry out. The thing about air dry clay is it's kind of like plaster. I don't know what it's made out of, but it feels kind of like kneadable plaster. It gets really dry and like sandy on the fingers, and when it breaks it's really like brittle. I don't know what air dry clay is made out of, and after doing this I definitely see why people use polymer clay. But I just had to like rip it piece by piece and put it on there, which means my Korok ended up kind of lumpy. Even when I sanded it later, he was still kind of lumpy. He was doing his best. I did use water and stuff to like smooth it out, and I have these clay tools I got a while back. Tried using those to smooth it out. I even tried a paintbrush with water to smooth it out. I'm not very good with sculpting. I never really done it before, so I'm doing my best. So I just kind of did my best with that. And here I'm trying to like trace around the shape of the leaf on the clay. And after a couple struggling attempts, I ended up just making a paper template like I do for my pins in my shop, which I have a shop, by the way. You can get like some things from there if you want. Warning though, international shipping is ungodly expensive, so you're going to be paying a lot for international shipping. So as you see, I did tons of failed attempts. It wasn't working. And then I eventually just, there's the template. Jazargo, what do you want, baby? Where you at? I hear him, I don't see him. So yeah, I just drew a template and then I cut it out, and then I use that kind of like to trace around with the, what kind of knife is that? Razor blade. I can't remember what the knife's called. You see the knife on the screen. My brain blanked on what it's called. X-Acto knife. So I just like kind of cut around it. And yeah, I did my best. I think I cut on it a couple times, but I cut a lot of stuff out because a lot of it was just me repeating the same thing a bunch of times, and I don't think anyone really wants to see that. But yeah, I basically made the leaf the way I make my pins and magnets and stuff. And then afterwards, I scored the back, because that's something I learned a while ago when I was really little in like a little clay class. You score the clay and you wet it to make it stick to itself. I'm not exactly sure why that works, but the leaf never fell off, so we're going to say that I did it right. And then after that, I kind of just had to leave it dry for 2 days. And because of that, I really had to like just keep my door closed because my cats would have broke them, because they like to jump and break things because they're cats. But I also, because he needs a nose, right, I shoved a toothpick into his face. That sounds violent. And I put clay over the nose, like the stick of the nose. I did that so that the nose wouldn't fall off. Just because if you just like slap in a piece of like a little tiny pointy bit, I figured it would like fall off. But because there is sticks there, he shouldn't break if he falls on his face. Who knows? And here is day 2. Day 2 is when I started to paint and sand and all that other fun stuff. Day 2 was a lot. So here he is. That's how he looks. I think he's super cute. And I sanded the surface a little bit. I didn't know how thick of a layer of clay I really put on him, because some spots are thicker than others. So I just did a light sanding. I would have loved for him to be super smooth, but I really didn't know how much I had until I got to foil, and I just didn't want to chance it. So he got a light sanding. The paper underneath is just so it can catch a lot of the dust, so it's easier to clean up instead of trying to like wipe the dust off, wait for the mat to dry, all of the stuff. Just let it all land in there, fold the paper, throw the paper away. It's a lot easier that way. I have no idea what grit this sandpaper is. I just know that I had it and I used it, and I would use a paintbrush to dust the extra, like, clay dust off. It wasn't too hard. I don't mind sanding. I just wish I knew really how much I had leniency for. I planned on sanding his feet to a point, and for some reason I forgot. Because Korok feet are not square. They're like little triangles. But for some reason I forgot that. And so he has square feet. Which, considering how I had to eventually put him on the little stand I made for him, it's okay. He needs more to like stand on. And here I am with some craft paint, which I used air dry clay for the Korok, craft paint to paint them, and then some details I did with Posca pens. But most of it is just hand painted. But I'm priming it first. I don't know if you have to prime air dry clay, but I do. I prime it. I don't know if you need to. It might be better to not prime it. I really don't know. I just kind of prime it so like it's all the same like surface texture, because even though I've sanded it, could still like have some like patchy bits, and I figure if the paint's on top, it's kind of soaking into the rough areas, and because it's air dry clay, if you wet it, it will get a little muddy, so it'll be easier to like have a layer of white on top so it doesn't like mix with the other colors. I did do multiple layers of primer. I think I cut a lot of that out because you can only see me painting white on top of white so long until you get bored. And then I mixed some colors. I went with the reference that I had, but it turns out this Korok could have been a multitude of colors. I think there's a multiple variants of this specific Korok, and I'm upset because I would have much rather him be brown than green and beige, but it's okay. I do prefer the brown ones. I think they're cuter. But I mixed up like this lime green and this beige color, and then I just used the beige for like the patchy bits, and then I just painted them. And that's nothing much to say about that. I just painted them. I did a couple layers, tried really hard to not get too much of the leaf, but I did the leaf last, so that way if it did touch the leaf, I wouldn't be trying to fix the leaf. It'd be easier just to paint the leaf last. I did get some on the leaf, like when I was painting his nose, but that got covered up because the red I used was pretty thick, so it was fine. It was fine. Also, the paint that I'm using is all matte textured. I don't like painting with glossy paint. I have a whole, like, container full of glossy acrylic paint, and I hate glossy paint. For me, it's hard to blend. It's hard to make look flat. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'll probably find some crafting thing to use it with because I don't want to just throw it away. It's still good paint. I just don't like it. Yeah, there's his little nose. Gotta make it all nice and green. There we go. There you go. Also, really hard to, like, make this, like, stay, like, secure. Simply because if you touch it, the paint will come off, but you also want to, like, get the stuff done. This is a jump to a while later. I had to let the paint dry, otherwise it would have mixed with the next layer of the beige color. I like the beige color, but I wish I made it darker. I tried making it darker. It didn't really want to cooperate when I added a darker color. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't add enough, but I didn't want to have a whole bunch of paint because a lot of it dried out because I didn't need it and I didn't want to waste paint. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah, see, there I am trying to make it darker, and it doesn't look any darker. I added more. It doesn't look, I don't know why. It's just, okay, whatever. And then I just added another layer to, like, smooth it out. And also because it was painted over the green, you could see some of the green through it. But, yeah, that's basically it for what I did when I was painting them. Now we're on to the leaf. And the leaf was fun. I actually liked the leaf. Also, apologies that half of this stuff's out of frame. I got into it and I didn't pay attention to if it was in frame or not. The intention for this Korok was to have fun, and recording it was a bonus. So the fact that I've even managed to get like a 20-something minute video out of this at all is a miracle. But yeah, I just like started painting the leaf. It was really hard because I was trying to paint the back so it wouldn't be white, which is one of the reasons why I think I should have just glued the leaf on. But I didn't. But I was trying to get the back orange, but the orange was starting to get on the green, so I'm trying to, like, clean the green off, and trying to clean the orange off, and then I had to mix some more green because that green was drying out, and it was a whole thing. But yeah, I think this is everything that I really did this day. I don't remember what else I did this day. I'll see it because I'm like watching this as I narrate, which is why it's a super awkward narration. I think the only other thing I did today is I started painting the base, which is floral foam that I got from the dollar store. A lot of stuff in this project is from the dollar store. The floral foam, the flowers I use later are like fake flowers from the dollar store. The moss is from the dollar store. A lot of things are from the dollar store. Yeah, and now here I'm just putting like the yellow bit onto his face because like the leaf in the specific Korok, which is my favorite one, he has a yellow bit in the middle of his leaf, so I was trying to make that look good and trying not to get his nose, and it was emotional. I did my best. You were just gonna paint around the nose. I did touch all this stuff up in day 3 with the Posca pens, just to like smooth it out a little bit. I would have loved to be able to draw the like the brown bits on with the Posca pen, but I think my pen would have died if I did that. And also it's kind of weird trying to draw with Posca pens on these things. Yeah, there's the foam. It's kind of more like styrofoam than like the soft foam you just touch and press and it kind of has that weird texture to it. This is more styrofoamy. Yeah, I just painted it green. I just popped a couple different greens on there and just painted it green. I'm gonna end up growing, not growing. I'm growing. Yeah, I'm gonna grow. I ended up painting this green, and then later on the next day, this day here, day 3, I'm gonna be putting moss on it. And now I let it sit overnight to dry, everything to dry, because it, like I said, this clay is like plaster. It kind of stays damp for a while until like everything just like dries eventually. So I just left it overnight, and right now I'm just touching up like the leaf and like the green, not the green, and like the orange and the yellow, and trying to smooth it out. And yeah, I wanted to use the brown, and I don't remember if I cut this out. We'll see. I wanted to use the brown for like the outer edge, but the brown is way lighter than the brown on the cap, and it wasn't even really noticeable, so I didn't even bother. Instead, I ended up mixing a color to like do like the leafy bits. Unfortunately, the lighting got really dark here, but I fixed it in a minute. So I'm see how I mixed the color. I mixed like some red, some brown, and some copper, and some black to make a better color. Again, I'm sorry how dark this is. It'll get lighter in a second. Whenever I try to color correct in this thing, it ends up looking blown out. So I kind of just leave it alone. There we go. And I did try using a toothpick to like do the finer details, because I'm not very good with a paintbrush for things this fine with acrylic. I tried using a clay tool. The clay tool fell apart. I did fix it with hot glue later, because I needed hot glue for this project. So I ended up just having to paint it and using water to like clean off the messed up stuff and try again before it dried. It was emotional. I don't really like doing fine details with acrylic. That's not my thing. That's one of the reasons why I prefer watercolor and colored pencil to acrylic. But I tried marker on this and it didn't work, so I had to do like, actual acrylic on everything. But I think overall the leaf turned out pretty good. I think the leaf's the best part of the whole Korok, if I'm honest. Especially when I draw on his little face. The little face turned out pretty good, I think. I'm looking at him right now. He's cute. Oh, hi, buddy. Yeah, I'm just trying to like get all the nice little details in. And I did a lot of this out of frame. But what I did is, for the edges, I used a lot of stick glue. And I got this moss from the dollar store. I think it might even be real moss. I'm not sure. And I glued it on the edges. I also glue moss on the actual like stand as well, but I do that later. And like I said, I will like glue the moss on like the main base later, but I just kind of cut pieces, rolled it around, tried to get as much on the edges as possible. A lot of it keeps coming off. I don't know how secure the stick glue was, but I didn't want it to like drip off. So that's why I used the stick glue. Sorry, this is out of frame. Like I said, I got into it and I didn't notice stuff was out of frame. It will get fixed kind of in a minute. But I started flower arranging to like make it have like height and like dimension, I guess. I don't know. And I don't know what the plants are that I based my selections off of. My boyfriend told me what they kind of sort of looked like. The only one that I remember was the Sundelion, because I actually liked the Sundelions in the new game, Tears of the Kingdom. So the yellow ones are meant to be Sundelions. I do not remember what the other ones were meant to be, but they were meant to be sort of kind of based off of the actual game. But like I said, they're dollar store flowers, so they're not going to be accurate. But yeah, I was going to do paper flowers, but then I figured, paper flowers are kind of easy to mess up, and they'll yellow over time, and yeah. So I just chose these instead. They will probably go pale over time from sunlight, but it's okay. Like I said, I haven't really done a lot of flower arranging. I mean, I kind of played with flowers when I was little. My mother had a big garden, but in general, I'm not really a flower arranger. I tried using a wire up his butt. This sounds violent. I tried a wire up his butt because I put like a hole to like hold him up. But that wasn't the reason why he broke. He was like there, but it didn't work out. He fell. And here is me just putting the face on. I used a Posca pen to put the face on. I'm really happy with the face, actually. I think he turned out cute and kind of derpy, just like a Korok is. It's one of the reasons why I love them. They're cute and derpy. I love the little yeah-ha-ha. Whenever my boyfriend finds one, I say yeah haha with the Koroks because I'm a child, but that's okay. I just prefer Posca pens to put the face on versus painting it on. It's more precise. It's easier. When I added the rest of the moss, I originally started with stick glue, but then I figured, you know what, this probably should use like real glue. So I used tacky glue, and I painted it on and sprinkled some moss, painted it on, sprinkled some moss, shook the thing to get some of the excess moss off. It was a whole thing. It was an experience. Did not like this part. This part was boring as frick, and I don't even know if I did it well, but at least I finished it, right? So that took me kind of a while, but oh well, I finished it. I didn't like doing this part. This part sucked. And I had to eventually take some of the moss off because after the Korok broke, I realized I had to hot glue them on, which I didn't record the hot gluing. And to hot glue them on, I had to kind of like take some of the moss off so that way the hot glue would like stick to the base. So it was a whole thing. But it's okay. So pro tip, don't shove a wire up a Korok's butt. He won't be balanced. That sounds so mean. I don't mean it how it sounds, I promise. But yeah. And here I'm just sealing him up real quick. I use Mod Podge, the matte finished Mod Podge. I did a couple coats. When you use Mod Podge, you don't want to do too many coats because it kind of gets foggy after a while. It goes from making it look more vibrant to making it look kind of dull and have bubbles in it and not vibrant at all. So you really want to like balance out how many layers of Mod Podge you use. I also got some moss stuck on the back of them, but since he broke off, I just covered the other bits that were messed up when I had to fix them. So it worked out for the best in the end, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty much all I did. I know this was kind of long-winded and self-explanatory, but some people just listen to videos and don't watch them, so it's okay. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you liked the little Korok. I know he's not 100% accurate. I could have done maybe better. I don't know. I've never made something like this before. But I am happy with how it turned out, and I hope any fans who might have come across this enjoyed watching me make him. And yeah, I will see you all later. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!